If the sun disappeared right now, you wouldn't know it. Not immediately. For 8 minutes and 20 seconds, the sky would still look normal. Sunlight would still pour through your windows.
That's silly.
Birds would still sing. Cars would still move through warm afternoon streets. Because the light reaching your eyes would be light from a sun that no longer exists. Think about that. Right now, every second of your life is slightly delayed from reality. Now, before we go further, a quick truth. Our sun can never actually become a black hole. It's too small. According to NASA, a star usually needs many times the sun's mass to collapse into one. But as a thought experiment, this scenario reveals something profound about gravity, light, and how fragile our world really is. For this thought experiment, imagine the sun instantly collapsed into a black hole with exactly the same mass. Because if our star suddenly vanished into darkness, humanity would spend 8 full minutes seeing a past that no longer existed. Most people imagine black holes as giant cosmic vacuum cleaners that swallow everything nearby. Movies love this idea. But reality is far stranger. Gravity does not care what an object is. It only cares about mass. And the sun contains almost all the mass in the solar system. If that same mass suddenly compressed into a black hole, Earth would not get sucked in.
Our orbit would remain almost exactly the same. We would continue circling the center of the solar system exactly as before. The terrifying difference is that the bright star we depend on would be gone. In its place would be an invisible sphere, only a few kilometers wide, silently holding every planet in orbit. And for a brief moment, humanity might not even realize what happened, because the last sunlight would still be traveling toward us. 8 minutes and 20 seconds after the collapse, daylight would collapse within seconds. Not gradually like sunset. One moment, the world would be bright. The next moment, the sky would become black. Not dark blue, not cloudy. A kind of cosmic darkness humans were never meant to experience. Then something eerie would happen. The moon would disappear. Not because it moved or exploded, but because the moon has no light of its own. Every moonlit night in human history has only been reflected sunlight. Without the sun, the moon becomes invisible. An object larger than entire continents erased from the sky in a single moment. Let that sink in.
At first, Earth itself would survive surprisingly well. Our atmosphere traps heat, and the oceans store enormous amounts of thermal energy. So humanity would not instantly freeze. Cities might continue functioning for a short while. Power grids would still run. People would panic. Governments would scramble for answers. But physically, the world would still exist. Then, the temperature would begin falling. Within about a week, average global temperatures could drop below minus 18 degrees Celsius. Crops across the planet would begin dying because photosynthesis would stop almost immediately. Plants are the foundation of nearly all complex life on Earth. The moment sunlight disappears, the entire food chain begins collapsing from the bottom upward. Within months, much of the ocean surface would begin freezing, and over the following years, thick ice would spread across the planet. Earth would slowly transform into a wandering frozen world, drifting through interstellar darkness, a rogue planet.
And strangely enough, astronomers believe rogue planets may already exist across the galaxy in enormous numbers. Entire worlds without stars, floating silently through the Milky Way. Some scientists think there may be billions of them. Think about that. Somewhere out there right now may be frozen oceans beneath skies that have never seen a sunrise.
But here is where the story becomes unexpectedly hopeful. Earth has another source of energy, hidden beneath our feet. Its core. Deep inside our planet is a massive sphere of iron, nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. That heat constantly leaks upward. Even today, entire ecosystems survive near deep ocean hydrothermal vents where sunlight never reaches. Life there survives using chemistry instead of sunlight, which raises a disturbing possibility. If the sun disappeared, humanity's future might move underground. Civilization could retreat into deep tunnels and geothermal cities beneath layers of ice. Artificial farms would replace forests. Machines would replace sunlight. Children born generations later might never see a sunrise or feel natural warmth on their skin. To them, the sun would sound like mythology, a story from a lost world. And the strangest part may not be the cold. It may be the sky itself. Without sunlight scattering through Earth's atmosphere, space would become visible all the time, even during what used to be daytime. The Milky Way would stretch overhead with terrifying clarity. Billions of stars burning silently above a frozen Earth. Human beings evolved beneath a bright blue sky that hides most of the universe from us.
Remove the sun, and suddenly the cosmos stares directly back every hour of every day. And black holes themselves may be stranger than we once imagined. Scientists have discovered a strange gap in the sizes of black holes we observe. Smaller black holes formed from collapsed stars exist, and gigantic supermassive black holes sit inside galaxies. But middle-sized black holes appear surprisingly rare. Nobody fully understands why. Some observations suggest certain disappearing stars may actually be hidden behind thick clouds of dust rather than truly gone. The universe may contain countless objects hidden behind darkness, pretending to be gone.
If humanity somehow survived this frozen future, civilization itself would change completely. Agriculture would move underground beneath artificial light. Energy would become more valuable than gold. Food would be engineered with extreme efficiency. We might grow fungi instead of forests. Underground oceans warmed by geothermal heat could become the last refuges of life. Earth itself would begin resembling the spacecraft we already send into deep space. Sealed, artificial, fragile, surviving only through technology. But black holes are not completely silent. When massive objects move through space, they create distortions in space-time called gravitational waves. Tiny ripples stretching and squeezing reality itself. Humanity has already detected these waves passing through Earth, using instruments sensitive enough to measure distortions smaller than an atom. Which means even in total darkness, the universe would still move, still vibrate, still hum. A frozen Earth drifting around a black hole would still feel the distant echoes of colliding stars billions of light years away. And maybe that is the deepest lesson hidden inside this thought experiment.
Human civilization feels permanent because our lives are short. But stars are not eternal. Every city, every empire, every language, every moment in human history exists because a star burns nearby. The sunlight touching your skin today began as nuclear reactions deep inside the sun's core. We survive because energy crosses the emptiness of space every second to keep our oceans liquid and our planet alive. Most days, we barely think about it. But perhaps we should. Because the story of humanity is really the story of a species borrowing energy from a star. And one day, far in the future, our descendants may need to survive without it. Maybe underground, maybe beneath alien suns, maybe on distant frozen worlds drifting through the galaxy. But even then, humans will probably continue doing the same thing we have always done. Looking upward, asking questions, searching the darkness for meaning. Because even if our sun goes dark one day, the story of humanity may still continue, written in the light of questions we dare to ask.